Sharp Game here, coming at you on another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the games that women play. The games that women play in this society that we live in today. Assuming that you live in America, or North America, I should say. Now, today, I have to admit that today, this is just my opinion. Today, there's some people out here are crazy as cat shit today. Of course, it's not everybody, but there's a lot of men and women out here today are crazy as cat shit. Some of the stuff I hear and see is very irrational and it's not practical thinking at all. And the people that's on television, those people that got letters behind their name, maybe they're PhDs, MDs, or whatever, they make it worse. Because these are just technical people. They're not really in the trenches. They just certified, or they just educated people, or somebody. They're being allowed to be on television to speak on areas that, to be quite honest, they're not that good in. A lot of these people that's on television that speak on any subject, they don't even have to be on relationships or dating, that speak on any subject, if you could follow them or hang around them for about 2 to 3 months, you would I can kind of guarantee that you probably wouldn't look at them the same again. A lot of these people are not that great. They're not really that good as they claim to be. And a lot of it's based on perception, because you're sitting down in the comfort of your home looking at them on television. So it kind of seems like you kind of assume that they have it all together. But I'm here to tell you that most of them don't. And they make it worse because they're misguiding a lot of these men and women to believe something should work. And that's what they always say. It should be this way. It should be that way. What's your payoff? What's your payoff? They see, within the mainstream media, they want things to go a certain type of way. They want a topic to fit a certain narrative. That's what they really want. They don't really care if your relationships work or not. See, it's not about your relationships at all. It's all about the narrative that fits a good story or a good topic. That's all it is. So a lot of women will see this and they'll assume that, hey, she's talking about me, or he's talking about me. That sounds like me. But in most cases, they don't ever tell you what to do. Pay attention to that. They never tell you what to do in most cases. Sure, they'll tell you what might have happened, or what the problem stemmed from, but they never really go into deep into depths about how to solve the problem. Because at the end of the day, These networks want ratings. That's all they want, really. So a lot of women will kind of buy into that, the status quo, and they'll bring that way of thinking into their relationships, and it doesn't work in most cases, because a lot of women will use a lot of shaming tactics. They'll say, well, a lot of women will do anything. They'll run game on a guy in the beginning. They'll do almost anything to get the guy. But once they get married to the guy, or maybe they might move in with the guy, or maybe they might have been in a long-term relationships, then things are gonna change. She won't dress the way she used to dress. She might pick up a whole lot of weight. She don't act the same. She don't look the same. And then you might start getting that same old lazy suck that a lot of these married guys get, or a lot of these guys get that's been living with a woman for a long time together. Get that same old lazy suck, But you know what? A lot of women out here, they don't think anything's wrong with that way of being, that way of acting, that way of behaving, because there's no incentive for a woman to behave and to carry herself in a classy type of way today. There's no incentive, none at all. There's no benefit. So that's one of the main reasons why you see a lot of women do what they do in society, especially when it comes to being on Instagram or being on television. A lot of them act a fool because there's no incentive for her to behave at all, and a lot of women will try to justify why she gained weight, or why things are the way it is within the relationship. And if she gains weight, a woman usually say something like this. She'll say, if you love me, you will accept me as I am, whether I gain weight, or whether I don't look as well as I used to look. But she knows good and hell well, if the shoe is on the other foot, she is not going to accept you the way you are. As a matter of fact, she probably never accepted you as you were as a person in the beginning. She was just playing games. And a lot of women will use these shaming tactics because the number one reason why a lot of these women know once they pick up weight and once they get older, they can't compete with a lot of these young girls out here. So they'll try to shame the guy so he can stick around just a little bit longer, or as long as she can, ride it till the wheels fall off, because she know that she can't compete at the end of the day. And it's just a recipe for disaster, because I remember back in the early 2000s, you had people like a couple of comedians and people in the mainstream media, like Monique, the comedian Monique. They started like I call it a big girl movement, where it's like you had overweight and fat women basically kind of campaigning and kind of hating on the slim girls. So you had people like Monique. She used to do stand up, and she would like ask a guy maybe in the audience if they dating big girls. And if the guy said no, she was like, you better admit with a big girl, fuck them skinny bitches. You know what I'm saying? So and you had other comedians that were women started doing the same thing as well, and then they started making movies about the shit, about how big women are sexy. They started saying, "Hey, big sexy," you know, and and then you had the big girls kind of kind of bashing the slim girls or the girls that wasn't fat, and then you had the big women was starting to shame the men and make the men feel bad because they didn't date the big girls. That started in the early 2000s, and what happened is a lot of those shaming tactics, at least I think, kind of a lot of guys kind of bought into that shit, and a lot of guys kind of lowered their standards when it comes to women, and they just accepted that shit and they went along with it. This is why you see a lot of girls are just getting bigger and bigger today. So I'm like, when I was growing up, big girls didn't really have it going on like that. You didn't see guys with a lot of fat women in public. Not at all. I mean, hey, I know big girls need love too, but you did not. It was hard, kind of hard pressed to see a guy with a big girl in public. That didn't happen very often. But today, that's kind of common. So what was kind of rare or sometimes abnormal is today kind of normal due to the propaganda, the mainstream media, and plus social media. So a lot of it's a bunch of bullshit. Because see, a lot of women today don't really look at shaming guys as, they don't really think anything's wrong with it. They think shaming a guy is kind of normal. And that's what has happened today. And it's a lot of, I don't even think a lot of women see it as playing games. They just think that, hey, this is what women do. This is what we got to do to achieve or get what we want out of a guy. And a lot of guys go along with it because I know some guys are thinking about the pussy, or some guys just want to be with the girl, or like some women will say, they'll shame guys into getting married to them. They'll say, if you don't marry me, I'm gonna leave. And they've probably been together for 5-10 years. He probably got used to being around her, and probably doesn't. He probably don't fuck with anybody else. He probably don't even contact any other female. So it's all about her. His whole world is surrounded around her. So once she knows that, she'll say, well, if you're not gonna get married, if we're not gonna get married, maybe we should go our separate ways. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit happens a lot, believe it or not. Most marriages are like that. Most guys don't get married to a woman just because he wanted to. He got married to her because she's been around so long, and then she probably gave him an ultimatum or some type of shit like that. So he was like, oh, okay, let's do it, or whatever. So she can just be quiet so they can move on to other things that's bigger and better. You know what I'm saying? So this type of shit happens a lot in American society. And you never hear about it in the mainstream media. You never hear about it within families. It's kind of common today, And a lot of these women today, it's very difficult to achieve very much with them anyway, because a lot of them are so self-absorbed and think about them damn selves all the time. They really don't care about family or the kids or anybody else but the damn self. Oh, they might play along and put on a good face and act like it's all good, but most of these women today are not committed to these guys. The only thing they're committed to is the nest, the house, the cars, the whatever investments they probably made together or whatever. They're not even committed to the kids, really. They don't really. Most women, I think, most women that I know, I don't really think they care about the kids. The kids is kind of like a pawn in the game. That's pretty much it. They use the kids as leverage. Kids is like tools. Even some women use men as like tools. We're like tools in the toolbox. We're just a means to an end. Pretty much. So she's not really loyal. Most women are not really loyal to you. They're not gonna be loyal to you. They'll be loyal to what you bring to the table and how you maintain it. This is why if a guy loses his job, or maybe had some hardship, or maybe he broke his leg, lost his football contract, most women are ready to pull out. They're ready to go. Because they never really had the guy's best interest. They wasn't really down with the guy. They never really made a commitment. They were just loyal to the nest. They were just loyal to the resources. This is why when a lot of women get married, it's kind of like they go on retirement. Because everything they did before the marriage to get the guy, it was like flawless. They was very cooperative. She didn't say no to anything. Even if she didn't know, she was like, "Oh, I'll try and find out for you. I'll get back to you on that." But when they get married to these guys, it's no to almost 99% is no. Because they wasn't really committed to anything. And even if the guy is successful in doing whatever he do, it's still gonna be a lot of a lot of kind of what I would say, a lot of animosity towards the guy, because a lot of these women today really don't want to get involved in what the guy has going on. See, a lot of women want a lot of things out of life, no doubt, but they want to do the least and put in very little. And I mean, it just doesn't work like that. This is why a lot of guys that's successful, they usually end up leaving the first woman that they get married to, because she's not really down for the get down. And no one ever said that you're supposed to when you get married, that you really supposed to be with the same woman for the rest of your life. That's not even a practical way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? If you get 10 years out of one person, you should be happy with that. That's a huge accomplishment right there. If you get 10 good years out of being with one person, that's a huge accomplishment in this day and age. Now, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that wouldn't be a great accomplishment. But today, that's a huge accomplishment, because most people today, as soon as they have an argument, they're ready to bail out. As soon as they have a dispute, they're ready to bail out. So, these are just some things you have to think about. Don't I mean, there's a lot of shaming tactics that a lot of women use. They play a lot of games, but at the end of the day, what you have to do is, man, just you gotta be yourself, and you gotta know who you are as a person, and stand in your truth. And you can bend, but don't break them for nobody. And I talk about a lot of this in my books called Love Can't Wait. And the other one is A Chicken's Guide to Having Women Beg for You, Sex, Lust, and Lies, which can be found on Amazon.com. And you can find them by clicking the links below as well. So if you like what you heard, join my Players Club, subscribe to my channel, and if you got questions, I got answers. Until next time, Sharp Gamers out. Peace.